Hey guys, welcome back for another update. I feel like we just talked about this since I had my video on Friday with all of the market update and the CMIs with every city. But everything is in real time, so we have to keep up with this and continue to focus on what's going on in the market. But anyway, thank you all for all of your comments and views on Friday's video. It was obviously interesting to most of you, which I appreciate. And I think I got back to everyone with your questions about specific cities and areas. I apologize. I talked about pulling CMIs for zip codes in that video, and that's actually not possible, unfortunately. That was my mistake. There is not enough data for Cromford Report to have a CMI for each zip code, since zip codes can be quite small. So unfortunately, we can't get CMI data for each zip code, but I can tell you how many active listings there are as compared to the number of listings under contract and how that number has shifted over the last few months, which gives us an idea similar to what the CMI tells us. So I've been doing that for a few of you, and hopefully that's helped answer your questions. So let's talk about what's going on now on the 5th of July. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July celebration. I know we did. Zoe doesn't like fireworks. Cleo is pretty calm. So any of you who have dogs, you know how it is during 4th of July and New Year's Eve. It can be really challenging. So Zoe was a little bit upset. We also had some thunder, which didn't help the situation either. Thunder and fireworks, pretty much her worst nightmare. So she was a little jumpy last night, but we got through it, and we've been enjoying some of the cloudy skies and rain here in Phoenix lately. But let's talk about the CMI, because we have a lower number than last Monday and a lower number than what I reported in Friday's video. So right now we're sitting at 401. We're about to get into the 300s. That's definitely going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. With the way that things are going, by next Monday, I'm certain I'll be reporting a number in the 300s. And in March, we were talking about like 515. So it's definitely made some big moves in the last few months. So that's the overall CMI. If you are new to my channel, all of this information comes from the Cromford Report. It's a subscription that I have to get data from the MLS, and it is only for realtors. The Cromford Report analyzes all the MLS data, gives us information that we can distribute to our clients, and the CMI is the Cromford Market Index. It is a measure of supply and demand in our market, and any number over 110 is a seller's market. So 400 is still very much a seller's market here in Phoenix, but when we've been talking about this decline month over month, we're definitely seeing a change in the market. So that's kind of the big thing going on. For our demand, that has gone down slightly again. It's at 105.6, so we're 5.6% above normal for demand. I think that was 105.9 at some point last week, so it's gone down just slightly, but it has gone down. And then for our supply, it has gone up again, so we're at 26.3. So lately what's been happening is our supply has been increasing and our demand has been decreasing. And so the more that those two factors start to come together, the closer we get to a balanced market. We're still very much in a seller's market, so don't get me wrong there, but we are headed in a direction towards balance at this point. Speaking of that, the average change in the CMI over the last month has been 13.2%. And it used to be last week, the average change was 9.7%. So it has certainly accelerated over the last week. We're actually seeing the rate of decline at this point to be consistent with the rate of increase that we saw on the way up. So I mentioned, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, that the rise in the CMI was much faster than the decline that we're seeing. And now the decline that we're seeing is at the same rate as that increase was. Now keep in mind, it's taken a while for us to fall to this point, but now in the last week or two, it's been accelerating. So we'll see if that pace continues, because that will mean that we're getting much closer to balance much quicker if that's the case. So we'll see what happens there. The only city that is improving for sellers is Goodyear. So if you are a seller in Goodyear, you're in good shape. No pun intended. So you are in good shape in Goodyear. That is the only CMI that is going in the direction for sellers. In other words, that number is increasing versus decreasing. Every other major city has a decreasing number for the CMI. But there are 5 cities that I want to tell you about today. 5 cities that have an active count of listings that is double what it was in March. So if you're thinking about buying a house in Phoenix, these cities might be places you want to focus on because the inventory levels have increased significantly, especially since March. All right, ready? Avondale, El Mirage, Gilbert, Maricopa, and Queen Creek. So those are 5 cities where you're going to find double the amount of inventory than there was back in March. Which, you know, in March our inventory was so low, so double that isn't really anything that exciting, but it is when you're coming from such a low number. So, you know, don't get me wrong, there is not a plethora of homes for sale in those cities, but it is double what it was, so we've made some significant changes in those 5 cities. Let's see, what else do I have for you? I think that's pretty much it because I went through a lot of information on Friday, which was only a few days ago. So those are the main things to think about. Our active listings are increasing by about 300 per week, so keep that in mind. If you're thinking about selling, I would think about it very seriously. The way the CMI is going, your leverage as a seller is weakening. So if you have a house that might be a little bit more challenging to sell, especially for whatever reason, now is a better time than what the future holds, more than likely. And if you're a buyer, get excited because you might begin to have a little bit more respect in this market and a little bit more leverage if things continue the way that they're going. So that is good for you. Overall, though, I do want to say it is still very much a seller's market, so don't get confused on that. And our prices are not going down. When the CMI goes down, that does not mean prices go down. That just means that our supply and demand factors are changing to where the pressure in the market might be different. And the CMI predicts price appreciation. So if the CMI goes down, eventually our price appreciation will be less than it is today. It's not depreciation and it's not a decline in values. The only way we get a decline in values is if we go way below normal with the CMI and we're in a buyer's market, then we could see values decline. But we're not there, nor are we predicting or projecting that we could go that direction at this point. So I want to make sure all of that's clear. But otherwise, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. You can look in the description below, set up a time to talk with me about buying or selling real estate. You can also reach out by call, text, or email if you have any questions or need some clarification. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos every Monday and coming to my channel and subscribing. So thank you so much, and I will see everyone on Friday with a new video. Have a great week.